I'm wired now. All right, this is gonna be tough. I have to hold the mic, look at my notes, so we're not gonna do notes. How about that? Can you all hear me? Yeah. Okay, I usually don't use a mic because I walk a lot and I tend to be really loud, so I don't need my glasses either. There we go. Yes, I did write 360-degree impact. I am a bit of a radical thinker, and for years my job was I spent my entire career in the hospitality industry, you know, the grind. Anyone has been in hospitality, even in college, serving tables? Yeah, quite a few. So you know what that looks like, right? You're always on. So the reason behind 360-degree impact is because I honestly believe, like Sylvia, that if we start changing the way that we think and changing the way that we lead, we will most definitely have a more colorful world. So that's my tagline in my book. And I'm only gonna share 4 impactful, 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My math is terrible. 5 impactful things with you today. Here's the thing. Who in this room can think of, and scream it out if you want to, or raise your hand if you're an introvert, who can think of what the most popular word is today in the English dictionary?
6, 7.
6, 7. What else? That's kind of like generational situation there. Anything else?
Love.
Love.
Narcissist.
Narcissist. I love that. I wasn't expecting that. Whew, curveball. How about our ally back there?
AI.
AI, yes, that was in my list. Anybody else?
Authenticity.
Authenticity. What else?
Love.
Love. What else? Money. Anything else?
Yeah, the F word.
The F word. I'm sorry to break it for you, but here's the thing. It's busy. Yeah, right? Who has ever said, how you doing? I'm busy. How's your spouse? Busy. How are the kids? Busy. And all we say is busy. I've been there too. And I trained myself to replace the word busy for productive. It's way lighter. It's actionable, right? We're moving forward. We're doing something. Now here's the thing. It takes time to rewire your brain to go from that one word that not only you always say, but everybody else around you says too. So I encourage you all to go from busy to productive moving forward, okay? So that's my intro. Here's the thing. So much has changed. If we look back at time, thank you for that. That was like the perfect tea situation. The spark. We're not busy because we're doing way too much. We're busy because we don't have connection. We're not connected with ourselves. We're not connected with the people around us, because if we were, we would know how and when and who to ask for help. Who's with me? Yes, right? And we know we have people in our network, and we know we have people in our circle that will lean in and will lend a hand when we need it the most, right? When you're losing your North Star, where you need to connect with yourself, you have that one person that you can call, and they're going to say the right words, and it feels good. When you have so many activities, and maybe you have 3 kids, and you have to drive them here and drive them there and drive them there. Yes, great. For anyone who lives in Vegas, we kind of have 30 minutes one side to the other side of town. It's awesome. However, you cannot be in Henderson at the ice arena at 8 o'clock and be in Rampart at the indoor soccer at 8 o'clock at the same time. It's impossible. I have twins. Right? And the moment that they decided we're gonna split sports, I was like, yeah, that's great. How are we gonna do this? 2 parents that travel? It's crazy. So everything has changed. And we don't need to do more. And the next power move for you is not going to be in your calendar. And how do I manage time? Yes, I sit in front of professionals and I help them figure out how to manage time, but it's not a matter of managing time. It's a matter of managing your energy. It's a matter of connection. when we start connecting in a different way, when we remember that we're human, then things change. So the 5 stories that I have to share with you today, hopefully will give you a glimpse. Sorry, I'm driving you crazy, I know this, but I walk a lot. It's going to give you a little nudge, hopefully, so that you can comprehend what I mean when I say connection is your next power move. Connection creates change. I was 10 years old. I grew up in Argentina. Back in those days, I'm 46, so back in the day there was no Google, right? I had these magazines that I would look at pictures and read about Greenpeace, and I thought it was the most awesome organization ever. But the information that I had was as far as what I could read in the magazines. That was it. I didn't have things broadcasting on television related to Greenpeace or their impact. I didn't have a way to look this up online. 10 years old, I go to my mom and I say, I want to invest my savings. Imagine what kind of savings I could have had in Argentina at age 10, but stay with me. Mom, I want to invest all my savings and I want to be a part of Greenpeace. I want to be a member. I know they have memberships and they'll send you this cool magazine every single month and you get to see what they're doing and how they're helping the planet. And the dolphin is my favorite animal. So when you went from like, think about your animal, I was like totally a dolphin and all of a sudden like everybody's roaring, right? I'm like, oh, wait a minute. But they were doing work for the dolphins too, right? So there was something that connected me to the power behind Greenpeace. It wasn't logic. In fact, there was zero logic behind my investment, like zero. But I knew that they were doing something impactful and it was connected to my heart. So when I say that connection creates change, it's because many times when we truly connect with our heart and we stop thinking so much or overthinking in some cases, we move forward, and we move forward with momentum as opposed to moving forward through logic. I'm not saying you never use logic, right? But when I say connection creates change, look back and think about all those big changes, the big moments in your life. It was this massive move that was coming from your heart. Am I right or am I right? I only gave you one option. Next, the need. Connection fuels humanity. Let me take you back to school. Anyone who is my age or older can remember this. School teacher says we're going to work on a math problem, and the math problem stated something like this. Your classroom is going to assist in a local homeless shelter in need. You are going to bake cookies to sell at school and outside of school. And the cookies cost $2, right? You're gonna sell them for $2. How many cookies do you have to sell to help the homeless in need? True connection. Right? We're teaching kids character. Now, let's fast forward to today. I sit with my kids and I look at their math problems and I want to bang my head against a wall. And I'll tell you why. The problem is a race car runs 120 miles an hour, and how many miles did the car go for 2.5 hours of being on the racetrack? Seriously? Where's the connection in that? Are we building character? It's mind-blowing. We are so disconnected. Next, connection is a choice. Let me walk you through the doctor's office. And I was not going to share a good one, but I'm going to share the ugly and the good one. And I'll tell you why the good one, because I experienced it yesterday. And my whole work is around building better cultures in the workplace. Stay with me. The disconnect. You show up at the doctor's office, but first you complete every single piece of paperwork online. And the paperwork gets to you via email, via text, right? There is no lady on the other side telling you, okay, and what is this? And what's the answer to this? Like, you're literally completing everything online. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, to the point that you're thinking, wait a minute, I already answered this. Why is this information not already integrated that you're asking me that question again and again and again, right? So at that point, we're like so disconnected. We show up at the doctor's office, the person behind the counter, because there is always a counter, barely looks up, sign right there. You sign your name, you sit down, you wait for a while. Then you go in. They get you on the scale, they tell you, write a few things down, send you to room 1, flip the little thingy on the outside, right? You're sitting there a while. Finally, your doctor shows up, rolling this little thingy with a computer over it, does not even glance at you, is behind the computer typing things away. True story. Who has experienced this lately? Look at this. Look around, ladies and gentlemen. This is crazy, right? Behind the screen, typing away, asking questions. Not once did the doctor stop and say, Sylvia, how have you been? How are the children? Not once. But you've seen that doctor for a while. You know you have children, right? So behind the screen, they ask the same questions you were already asked about, like your family history, why are you here? When you're trying to explain the whole story of the why, the how, and yes, I'm here, I clearly need something. They already lost complete track of what you were saying and back to the tactical aspect of things. Is that connection? So not only the doctor shows up with a roly thingy, but it's behind a screen, you're half naked, you're half heard, and you're supposed to feel that connection or bedside manners? It's ridiculous. Now let me tell you the good part, because I just experienced it yesterday. I spent the entire day with my mom at Mountain View Hospital. Who's from Vegas? All right, so Mountain View Hospital, highly recommend. We walk in, every single interaction we had with someone in that hospital was incredible. The culture had been studied and the execution was flawless. Every person sat with my mom and asked, why are you here? At a certain point, after like 12 hours of being there, I was tired of hearing like, I was peeling an egg and I didn't realize that I swallowed a little piece of eggshell, right? And she was probably tired too. However, they were making an effort to actually connect with her, to make her feel seen, to make her feel important, to make her feel like, don't worry about it. We've never seen an eggshell stuck in someone's throat, but we're gonna help you because we know how, right? So she felt good about it, about a situation that was pretty crappy, if you ask me. So, connection is a choice. The doctor behind the computer can make the choice of looking up, of going back to creating their notes later, right? Of asking, of leaning in, of trying to find out more, becoming curious. We are so disconnected. So much has changed. Next story, connection requires intention. Who in this room, and I bet that everyone is gonna raise their hand, who in this room has received a direct message? I'm very active on LinkedIn, so I'll use LinkedIn as an example. Direct message that says, hi, Michele C. Dot. What you're doing is so impactful. I would love to find ways to collaborate. Blah, 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 blah. Empty words. Why? Because the moment, and I'm telling you, I do not read those anymore. Like, I'll just delete with satisfaction. The moment that I read, hi, Michele C. Dot, I knew that that message had been sent to thousands of people. Now, wouldn't it have been different if that person on the other side would have made the time to instead say, "Hi, Michele, I caught your podcast episode about human connection in leadership and how all that integrates, and I found it so impactful that I wanted to reach out. I see that our missions align, and I would love to find ways to collaborate with you." It's the same ask, you're just asking it differently. But we're so disconnected, and we're so in tune with making things faster, making things easier, that we lost that human touch, right? And the last one, my favorite story, how do we create legacy? Connection drives impact. Picture this. I arrive in the US a few months later, maybe about a year later. I am assigned to hospitality industry. Step up and take over 2 non-revenue generating departments. For anyone who has been in hospitality, who has stayed at a hotel, let me tell you what those are. Housekeeping makes 0 money. Housekeeping does not make money. Housekeeping is a money pit, right? Unless you manage it correctly. And the next one was stewarding. Stewarding, for those of you who don't know, are the ones that are behind the house, in the back of the kitchen, scrubbing pots and pans and scrubbing dishes, and it's a tedious job and it's exhausting. I am assigned to take over those 2 departments, 3 shifts, 24-hour operation. I'm in my early 20s. Big accent, like way worse than right now. Small, little person, right? Town hall meeting. The worst departments ever. They were in absolute disarray, and the morale of the team was an absolute disaster. They had no resources. They were underpaid. Some of them had not received paychecks in a while. It was an absolute disaster. Like, I walked into the worst thing that could put me through the fire, and if you make this, you made it, right? Survived. I'm here. So I walk into the town hall meeting. The room is packed. This was back in Lake Tahoe at the Harrah's back then, at the theater. So imagine, gigantic theater, no lights, stage, lots of people in suits on the stage, and explaining, KPIs, and these are all the things that we're doing, and this is what our numbers look like, and all the things. And all of a sudden, they open it up for the public. Every single department is there. Sorry, I keep spitting on you. Every department is there. Everyone is there, right? Q&A opens up. What do you think they had to share? Take a guess. Anyone? All the problems. And all the problems with which department? Yours. Mine. Yes. I was like, yay, spotlight. I hate the spotlight, right? And I'm sitting at the back, and I'm like the lady who's new, and her departments are an absolute mess, and we've heard this before. And by the way, the company I represented was not the actual hotel. It was a third party, because the hotel said, we don't want to deal with this mess. We want you guys to handle it. Take the headache away. Departments that make 0 money for us, go ahead and do it. So imagine everyone in the room, their efforts to make it known that we were totally screwing up were perfect. Why? Because we're not talking shit about the departments that the people on stage own. It was totally safe for them to come in with torches and all these tools and swords and make it look and feel extremely awful. So I waited. I heard the ping pong of questions and everyone angry, and it was terrible. So I stand up at the back, crickets, no one around me. I waited, I listened, all the things, stand up, raise my hand, someone brings the mic over to me. And as I'm holding the mic, I stood up and I said, totally radical, early 20s, I was crazy if I think about it now. I hear you, and I see you. And there is absolutely no way that I can change this overnight. Now that I think about it, if my bosses, the owners of the company I represented, would have heard me at that point, they would have probably removed me from their payroll like immediately. I said, I cannot fix all these problems overnight, but I know for a fact that if you give me a chance, and that if you give me the feedback, and with your help, I will make that change for you. And I sat down, no applause, no nothing, right? Like, again, crickets in the room. And sat down. When I left that town hall meeting, something magical happened. I was walking down hallways, I was getting on elevators, I was crossing paths with people, and people would stop. The same nasty people that were in the room stopped and said, that took courage. That was amazing. Thank you for connecting with what makes us so upset right now. And we believe in you. And they did. They leaned in and they believed in me. And I turned it around. And 60 days later, the morale was different. The productivity was obviously different. But we created a moment of connection by simply saying, I hear you, I see you, and guess what? I don't have all the answers. But I know that together we can make it happen. So my point here today is, connection takes intention. Connection will create a legacy. Connection will create change. What we have to do is take a deep breath and stop for a minute and recognize, can we be a little more human today than we were yesterday? And that is how we create a more colorful world. Thank you.